As we take a different angle right now, we talk about A and H, arts and humanity. Bringing to you, ladies and gentlemen, Datuk Muhammad Nur KHALID, which we grew up to. Watching, looking at all his cartoons really bring us laughter. It's about daily laughter. It's about happiness. Tepukan gemuruh pada Datuk Lat. There you go. This is truly incredible. He is, of course, given the title of Royal Artist by His Royal Highness. And today, with him, two more very special speakers as we bring our incredible attention to the world of art and humanity. Mr. Muhammad AMIR DAHALAN has been appointed as the Director of Perak State Museum Board. Prior to that, he was a teacher at Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Cyberjaya, served as a lecturer at University Sultan Azlan Shah, USAS from 2013 to 2023, obtained a master's degree in Islamic studies in the field of Arabic and Civilization Studies from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. Before that, he obtained a bachelor's degree in Arabic language linguistic studies from Al-Azhar University, Cairo in Egypt. He has published several articles on the study of the revelation of the Quran and its connection with science and natural phenomena. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll pass the mic over to Mr. Muhammad AMIR DAHALAN, the moderator.
Thank you very much for the Master of Ceremony, Mr. K.T. Pillai. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning. Alhamdulillah, today we gathered here in this beautiful hall, listening and talking, discussing about a very important topic. I think important topic, while it's slightly easy. In order to make the theme of this conference a success, which is celebrating diversity of heritage and culture, towards, meaning to gear up our main theme, that is, together we stand, Muslim and global humanity. Before I elaborate, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you to World Conference on Islamic Thought and Civilization WCIT 2024 USAS for giving us Lembaga Muzium Negeri Perak to discuss on arts and humanity in this special floor, in this special hall. All right, ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor, before we go further deep in this discussion, I would like to show you this picture. Okay. What do you understand from this picture? A Malay wedding in older days. The second picture. How do you describe these pictures? The first one is the Sikh wedding, and the second one is Hakka wedding ceremony. So, a picture worth 1,000 words, more than 1,000 words. So today, human artistic expression are manifestation of the creativity of the human minds and emotion. They reflect the critical thinking ability of human beings as they locate their idealism and articulate the quality of peaceful life. The power artistic expression cannot be underestimated. In the performing arts, for instance, we witness the combination of critical and independent thinking, powerful and perceptive reading, clear and precise writing, and articulate speech, all at once. It is the quality of life that the arts bring us into the imagined worlds created by different minds, and that they enable us to understand the differing life we live. Our ability to enter other worlds and minds give us a larger context for thinking about the life and how we should live. And our readiness to experience and participate in the arts make us more perceptive and sensitive to human diversity. In short, engaging in the arts helps create a deep sense of a shared world and widens our horizons about history and culture. And this, in the end, allowing us to appreciate the forces that shape our behavior, a world confronted by a collective appreciation of historical and cultural diversity is certainly a world of peace. So, ladies and gentlemen, to discuss about celebrating diversity of heritage and culture today, I introduce you our speaker. The first one is Dato' Muhammad Noor bin Khalid, known as Lad. Everybody know him as a cartoonist, comic, caricature. Lad is a revered Malaysian cartoonist renowned for his insightful and humorous depiction of Malaysian life and politics. Born in 1951, his career began in the 1960s with contribution to various publications, culminating in his iconic Scenes of Malaysian's Life series at the New Straits Times. His masterpiece, The Kampong Boy, published in 1979, became internationally acclaimed, translated into 14 languages, and celebrates as a cultural touchstone. Okay, so give him a big applause. Thank you very much. The second speaker today, Datuk Kamarul Baharin A. Kasim, is Director General of the Department of Muzium Malaysia, Ministry of National Unity in Kuala Lumpur. He was a curator with 34 years of experience in cultural and museum professionalism, beginning in 1991 until now. In 1989, he graduated from University Malaya in Anthropology and Sociology and pursued his master's degree in 2014 in Literature and Institute at the Institute of Malay World and Civilization, UKM. He has held numerous positions, including as President of the Museum Association, President of the International Council Museum Malaysia, members of the International Council of Museum, governing board members of SIMIO SPAFA, board member of State Museum, board member of National Heritage Council, and committee member of the Association of National Archaeologists. In 2007, he received Pingat Ahli Negeri Sembilan, followed by title Darjah Pangkuan Seri Melaka, DPSM, in 2016, and Tokoh Warisan Melaka 2018. Datuk Kamarul published a number of books and research papers in field of music, cultural artifact, and artifacts. Sorry. Give Datuk a big applause. And our last speaker, I introduce Puan ASMAH ALIAS. Is an accomplished leader with a strong background in museum management, heritage education, and community engagement, formerly Deputy Director of Education and Community Outreach at National Heritage Board. She shaped strategy policies of heritage education. As General Manager of Malay Heritage Centre in Singapore, she leads the team in fostering meaningful connection with the community locally and internationally through the centre programs and initiatives such as workshop, lectures, and special exhibition. Under her leadership, the team won awards, including the Best Practice Award from the International Council of Museum Committee of Education and Cultural ICOM CECA for consecutive years. Okay, I think that's a lot to read the description of biodata of three of the respective speakers. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I ask the first question to the first speaker, let us watch the VT.
Bersama kami di Malaysia hari ini. Ya, tadi Fariha ada cakap tentang kita akan berbincang tentang kartun, impak kartun dalam kehidupan. Untuk saya lah ya. Kartun ini tidak pernah mengecewakan.
Kita kongsikan ini berkenaan dengan karya seniman diraja Datuk Lad. Galeri dekat Batu Gajah Perak. Ini antara tempat yang menjadi lokasi untuk kita bawa anak-anak, kita tengok macam mana sebab dia menceritakan sejarah hidup dan sebagainya.
Eksklusif bersama Datuk Lad. Jadi kita saksikan.
Semuanya daripada kenangan. Kenangan saya di rumah ni yang membuat saya membuatkan buku Kampong Boy. Tujuan dia untuk memberi orang senyum dan juga mesti membuat orang suka hatilah.
Bagi anda yang lahir sekitar tahun 1990-an, pasti tahu mengenai siri animasi popular Kampong Boy. Karya luar biasa ini mengisahkan pengembaraan seorang anak kampung bernama Mat dalam meniti kehidupan seharian yang penuh dengan adat dan budaya. Hakikatnya, idea asal novel ini berinspirasikan daripada sisi hidup pengkaryanya, Muhammad Nur Muhammad KHALID atau lebih masyhur dengan gelaran Datuk Lat.
Jadi saya kata nanti nak buat buku lah mengenai tempat asal saya. Kita lukis kampung boy tu, persahabatan je tapi di kampung lah. Jadi berbilang kaum dan juga saya bila buat tu saya kena fikir bukannya tu orang kampung saya tapi untuk semua orang.
Figura hebat ini juga bukan hanya sekadar menunggu idea menjengah ke ruang minda. Ada kalanya beliau akan berkelana sambil membawa sebuah diary kecil bagi melakar aksi dan gelagat masyarakat. Meskipun hanya sekadar animasi, Datuk Lat mengangkat gaya hidup masyarakat Malaysia yang kaya dengan tradisi sebagai tema utama dalam setiap karya yang dihasilkan. Malah mesej positif mengenai persahabatan dan ikatan kekeluargaan turut disampaikan secara bersahaja dengan menyuntik elemen komedi.
Masyarakat belajar bahawa seni ni bukan sekat seni yang biasa. Lebih daripada itu ialah seni kehidupan bermasyarakat. Macam mana budaya kampung, macam mana dia duduk di bandar, macam mana dia mingle bersama dengan bangsa asing, bangsa lain, bangsa bukan sekat bangsa Melayu saja, bangsa Cina, bangsa India boleh hidup harmoni. Seni hidup bermasyarakat, seni hidup berukun negara. Jadi seni itu yang sepatutnya kita highlightkan lagi demi masa depan Malaysia lah. Okay. That's the VT as a stimulate for our discussion this morning. For my first question for first speaker, Datuk Lat, what is your view on the role of art in human life? I mean, Malaysians seems go for your humorous cartoon and comics over the years. Your fans are all over Southeast Asia, all over the world. So, humor brings people together. Could you elaborate that?
Yeah. Thank you, Amir. I am very happy to be here with you all, and I thank you all for being with me and listening to me. I am very thankful to the organizers. I've been drawing cartoons so long. Cartoons and comics, and that's my my work. You see a picture of a castle here. It's in Umbria in Italy, in the central part of Italy. I was there, you know. It's a 1,000-year-old castle, and I was invited to go there to become, in a group of artists, writers, and musicians to work for a couple of months. This was some years ago, and that's the kind of opportunity I got becoming a cartoonist and a comic artist. That's me trying to enter the castle. It's a 1,000-year-old castle called Civitella Ranieri. And my work also takes me to many places around the world over the years since the 1970s, 80s, like Japan, where you can see I observe how people work and try to deliver the message of things that are happening there back to Malaysia. I even traveled even before the Berlin Wall came down, and this was in the 80s. And even in Tanah Suci, Mecca, you buy a lot of things. The only original thing there is kayu sugi. In Cairo, I traveled through the traffic, and I had a good time drawing. So, basically, my job is to deliver drawings, 3-4 drawings a week to the New Straits Times. I did that for 40 years, beginning 1974. I am retired, but I've done I've done my bit. I think over the years, as I grew older, the ability to do what I managed to do before became less and lesser. But I still can draw a little bit today when asked by certain companies and parties. Like Petronas is celebrating 50 years anniversary, and Ambank celebrating 50 years anniversary. I've been involved in all that. You know, people can become together because of humor. Like reading humor, like reading comics, like reading cartoons, looking at caricatures in newspapers, magazines, like what happened in our country. Ever since 1970, mid-70s, my cartoons was very popular in Malaysia, and Malaysians gave very good response to my drawings, and they made the sales of the newspapers go up, and also they interacted with me, giving me ideas and suggestions. My subjects were very simple. You see, you draw for the New Straits Times. You're not drawing for one group of people. You're drawing for the whole country. This was the heyday of the New Straits Times. Today, of course, is another story. What happened to newspapers in later years is quite a sad story. But there are various races in Malaysia, and people of various ages, they would read. And I had to draw something that is relevant to every one of them. You know, I was young, I was given the opportunity, just draw. I said, draw what? Draw like what you did for the Asia magazine, you know, another magazine in Hong Kong that I had the opportunity to take part. It's about people, okay? And that means you have to include everyone in your story. The characters are Malaysians and others, whoever live in Malaysia. I guess the simple things in life, our behavior, our daily work, our daily grumble, the way we look at each other, the way we handle our road traffic, there's endless ideas. You can draw anything. Worst come to worst, you can draw, like one of the first series I did was Makan Time. For city people, town people, even Makan Time was a problem. Where to eat, you know, that sort of thing. And I usually start off a series which would go on for a few days with the past. I go back to the past because I'm always sentimental. I start off with what we were like eating in the Kampong, and it would go on small town, in a big town, and so on. And that's why people like the drawings. So much so that I receive a lot of letters and praise. But I am very happy that people are happy with the humorous work that the cartoonists and comic artists in Malaysia and all over the world do. That's why it is a medium that can be used to unite people, not only people in a country, people in a region, people all over the world. You can unite it with humor, with cartoons, as long as they give you recognition. You know, I received invitations for exhibitions and invitations to work on drawings in various countries. The first one was United States of America, followed by Japan, followed by New Zealand, Australia, Germany. Everyone asked me to visit their country so that they know that when I come back, I'll be drawing about them in there. This brings people together. I also help to invite artists from other countries to come and draw about Malaysia. We did that over the Visit Malaysia Year programs that we had. It was very enjoyable. So, cartoons and comics, humor, whether it is written in prose or music, you know, it's all international, and it's a handshake that you are letting out to the people around you, to the countries around you. Once we know each other, we'll be exchanging exhibitions, we'll be exchanging books, we'll be exchanging TV programs, and that makes us understand more of each other. So I'm glad I did this for 40 odd years. And of course, in the end, I grew older, and I you know, somehow lost touch with current events, and I would let the younger set to handle it, and hopefully, you know, it will continue.
Thank you, Datuk. So you did your cartoon as a medium to unite the people, to accept the difference among the people, and to celebrate the diversity among the people. So thank you, Datuk. Thank you again. And next question, my next question is to the second speaker, Datuk Kamarul Bahrain, A. Kasim. So after we listened, we heard about cartoon as a medium to unite the people. Now we turn to museum role. A museum is an institution related to historical and cultural heritage. The collection displayed at the museum itself reflects the diversity of its society. As you, as a person with more than 34 years of experience in the field of museum, can you explain more to us about that museum play in preserving and promoting heritage cultural diversity in the country? So.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Amir, as a moderator today. Before I start my presentations, museum role in preserving and promoting cultural heritage and cultural diversity, I would like to say Assalamualaikum and very good morning to the audience and also my colleagues, Datuk Lat and also Puan ASMAH. Can I go to the washroom? I prefer to go to the...
Please. You want the controller?
Okay, I will start my presentation to give definitions what is museum all about. Normally in Malaysia, they have their own interpretation what is museum all about. Some of them said that museum is a haunted site. Banyak hantu di museum because we keep old things and we keep artifacts that's no longer used by the public. But actually, maybe I can sum up briefly and concisely. Museum is a place, is a cabinet of curiosity, is a custodian and also the keepers, where museum disseminate knowledge to the public and also educate people. There is a definition given by ICOM. Actually, ICOM was a parent body for all museums all over the world where museum provide a set of standard rules and guideline in managing a museum professionally. Because as you can see that in Malaysia we have more than 250 museums all over, under federal, under state and under institution. But some of the museum, we cannot call it museum because we have a standard regulation what is museum all about. So definition by ICOM. This definition, actually museum is quite dynamic and the definition is changing from time to time. This definition was discussed in Tokyo during our general conference in Tokyo and was debated very seriously. And the last general conference was in Prague, isn't it? One was in Prague, and they finalized what is museum all about. Museum was interpreted as a non-profit making. It's a non-formal education center. But I try to highlight here that museum foster diversity and also sustainability through their program. It's involve enjoyment, involve education, reflection, and so to knowledge sharing. So as you can see on the right side, there is 5 core business of museum: research, collection management, conservation, exhibition. Okay, exhibition is the most obvious known to the general public because that is the final output. So when they talk about museum, they relate about exhibition. But today I try to highlight what is the role that museum play to preserve and promoting heritage and cultural diversity. First, one of the way to preserve our heritage is through gazetting, through regulation and enforcement. The rules of museum as a custodian, we gazette artifacts which we think that have outstanding universal value and representing all races and religion in Malaysia. So you can see that there is gold coins of Sultan Johor and some of Sultan Terengganu. We also have a Terengganu Royal Tobacco container, sculpture of seated Buddha from 10th to 11th century. And maybe you heard that we found through our excavation in Bukit Coras, we found the old seated Buddha age is around 6th century. I mean, older than Sekutai and also older than Borobudur. We also have a bronze bell, and also we have a statue of Alokeswara found in Kampong, Perak, and also Beetle Chest and others. So this artifact, considering that this country is made up from diverse religions and many ethnics, so this artifact will cover all races and beliefs and will be collected as evidence of our civilizations in this country. So this is one way how museum preserve our heritage. But I would like to share with audience our signature program. So we have a lot of program. I think we hold more than 100 programs all over the year. Last year we managed to hold more than 150 programs, and we plan to have more programs under Ministry of Unity. So from the various programs, I will show you only 3 signature programs that related with our cultural diversity and preservation of culture. So one is, we call it EPIM program. Second one related with Nostalgia Anak Kampung. And the third one is Night at the Museum. So EPIM is a very structured museum educational program implemented by departments of museum in collaboration with Ministry of Education. So this is where all the students were brought to the museum but accompanied by their teacher. So this is a program that includes syllabus in the textbook. And this program already launched by the Ministry of Education, and this is some sort of smart collaboration between Muzium and Ministry of Education. They have to go through 5 series: briefing session, teaching and learning session, guide tour session, strengthening session, and reflection session. So our objective to have this EPIM program is to cultivate interest among students to learn more about our history through Muzium education program. And this is to make Muzium as a solid teaching and learning system in effort to improve student achievement through creative and innovative process. And the most important thing is to foster unity between all races and culture in this country. So they have to go through the first session, it's about 50 minutes, where the museum officer will brief the student about the EPIM program. And I would like also to highlight that this EPIM program can be participated by primary education, secondary school from Form 1 to Form 6, and also student of Institute of Teacher Education. So they have to go through the second session. This is the second session where the teacher will prepare in advance to ensure that the taught topic can be presented well. It takes about 40 minutes. Then they go through the third session where the student will visit the gallery related to the topic taught so that their understanding is clearer and stronger. This takes about 30 minutes. This is a quite interesting session. And the fourth session, this is more to hands-on activities where we teach the student, because, for example, they want to learn about prehistory. So we teach them how to start a fire using stone, for example, when they learn about excavation, for example. Then when we learn about constitution, we will teach, because this includes the Chinese school, Indian school, and Malay school. So we teach them how to use desta, how to wear a samping, how to catch a fish using a bamboo spear. And museum holds lots of activities related to the topic and also syllabus that has been selected, and all in the book syllabus. So it's quite interesting, and this is the work that has been produced by the student. And the last session is reflection section. So we will conduct reflection activities to test the student, and we will measure to see the effectiveness of this program. So I would like to show you a response from the student and teacher as well. What is the impact of this program? It takes about, can we have the video?
Yes, video, please.
It takes about only 2 minutes video. Okay. This program was actually a collaboration, and it's involved more than 100 museums all over Malaysia. And the Ministry of Education already gazetted that students, especially the secondary school and primary school, must visit museum at least once during their school holiday. So if any school interested to join this program, I think they can go through to see our portal in our website. The whole session will take about 3 hours, and this is the response from the student, where we can conclude that the student learn faster rather than study in the classroom.
to museums very often.
Kami berterima kasih kepada pegawai-pegawai Muzium Negara dan terima kasih kepada guru-guru yang membawa kami ke sini dan seronoklah kami berada di Muzium Negara ini.
Okay, this is IPIM all about. And I would like to highlight our signature program done by Muzium to promote our heritage and also to promote our cultural diversity in Malaysia. This is what we call nostalgia anak kampung. Nostalgia anak kampung is something related with the past life during our childhood. So as we can see that the young generation nowadays, they prefer to use play with gadget, handphone and others. So this is a program involve strategic collaboration with from the various parties, and it is a very high impact program where the young generation can get to know and learn about the country cultures and also heritage more closely. So it involves memories and nostalgia, which has been forgotten nowadays. So the activities that has been held during this nostalgia event was something related with traditional game. We have what we call, we have like sepak raga, tarik upih, throwing slippers, sandal, and also involve self-sufficiency activities where they learn how to using bamboo while fishing and many others, and also demonstrations about the village food preparations. And the third program is Night at the Museum. This is a most interesting program because we try to cultivate museum in the mind of community, especially students, because they said museum is the haunted site. So they need to sleep in the museum at least for 2 days, and 1 night. So this is also, we try to increase sovereignty of the country, culture and historical heritage. And it was held with the celebration, during the celebrations of country independence, during Merdeka Day, 30 or 31st. But this program get very overwhelming response. More than 2,000 students were involved in this program, and the numbers of participants from time to time increase. And we get a very good response, and sometimes we conduct simultaneously with other museums all over Malaysia. So we have 2-day programs where the first day we will try to stimulate the spirit of patriotism among students, and the second day they will involve with museum activities that given them more exposure to the museum. So we promote the culture, fostering and also understanding, and we try to highlight unity among the students. So I try to conclude that we try to make sure that the young generation more knowledgeable and quite sensitive to our culture and heritage. So this is how we try to arouse curiosity among students in Malaysia. So this is how museum play his role in preserving and promoting cultural diversity in Malaysia. So we have lots of programs, but I only highlight 3 signature programs in this session. So I pass the floor to Mr. Amir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dato' KAMARUL BAHARIN, for the explanation. Just 3 signature programs. But we have listened, heard from the start, from the beginning. Dato' Lat says the comic, the humor brings people together. accept the differences. And then Dato' KAMARUL continue with the structure program to celebrate the diversity among the people in Malaysia. So now we turn to third speaker to discuss more beyond the Malaysia. So Madam Asmah, Puan Asmah, I just call her Puan Asmah, always like that. Can you share with us about the museums in Singapore, particularly the Malay Heritage Centre, okay? And tell us how the museum celebrates Singapore's diverse culture and heritage. The floor is yours.
Thank you to our distinguished moderator, Mr. AMIR. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to my distinguished panelists as well as to all distinguished guests and participants. Thank you to the organizer, really. I'm so honored to be here today amongst very distinguished leaders and, veterans like all the Dato' here, so I'm just a small fry in the industry, I'm still learning as well, but happy to share with everybody what we have done in Singapore. So Dato' KAMARUL has made it very easy for me because he has already set the stage and informed everybody of what a museum is like with the definition from the International Council of Museum. Actually, similarly, Dato', in Singapore, we also get the notion, the perception. People think that museums are really a dusty, a dusty place, something that, you only keep past objects, past memories, and then, of course, sometimes we do have children, who are very scared to enter the museums because, when you enter the museums, it can be quite dark. I mean, we have to keep the museums to a certain standard of lighting, right, in order to preserve and to ensure that the objects are still kept in a very good condition. And then, of course, when students and kids, they come to the museum, they cannot touch. They are told they cannot touch, they cannot run. So how then is a museum interesting and exciting for not just children, even for parents? Because I even get, sometimes I even get feedback from parents that they too are actually very intimidated when they come to museums because they don't know how to explain what are the various objects, to the children. So that's where we as museum practitioners come in to really bridge the gap between what the museums have to offer and to reach out to the audiences. So in the next few minutes, allow me to just share with you what the museums in Singapore have done to really, and to answer the moderator's question about celebrating the diverse culture and heritage in Singapore. A bit of an introduction where I come from. I am from the Malay Heritage Centre. The Malay Heritage Centre is actually one of the heritage institutions under the National Heritage Board. The National Heritage Board is actually a statutory board under the Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth, in short MCCY. So we are actually under the government as well. So the board was set up way back in 1993 and it manages the number of museums. If you can see the logos at the bottom of the slide, right? So the National Heritage Board manages the National Museum, the Asian Civilization Museum, the Peranakan Museum, as well as the Children's Museum and the 3 heritage institutions in Singapore. These are just a number of museums. Of course, we also do have private museums in Singapore, but these are the few museums that are under the government's purview. So what then is the role of the National Heritage Board? National Heritage Board, or NHB in short, really similar to what Jabatan Museum Malaysia does. We safeguard and we promote the heritage of Singapore's diverse communities. As you know, Singapore is a multicultural society similar to Malaysia. So the role of the board and the museum is really to promote the different cultures and community through education, through culture understanding. And the heritage institutions, of which the Malay Heritage Centre is one of them, beyond actually working with schools, working with the government agencies, we also work very closely with the local community, and we also have different stakeholders really to ensure that we involve the community in our programs to contribute to the preservation and to the enrichment of our cultural heritage. Again, just a bit of a background about what our heritage institution do. So the Malay Heritage, we have got the Indian Heritage Centre, we also have the Sun Yat-sen Narang Memorial Hall, we have the Singapore Chinese Culture Centre. What we do through our programs and initiative is really to promote understanding, to promote the different cultures, not just Malay culture, but of course the Chinese culture, Indian culture, the traditions. Through the various programs that we do, we ensure documentation of the community versus how then is it compared to the Singapore's narrative, the Singapore's story. And at the end of it, of course, the idea is to bring everyone together, how the communities come together, right, to celebrate our culture and heritage and to preserve that. Back to the Malay Heritage Centre, it was formerly the Istana Kampong Gelam, so the royal residence, right, of the Sultan then. So it is now converted into a museum, which actually shares about Malay culture and heritage, and also not just about the Singapore's Malay culture and heritage, but also the pioneers in Singapore, the founders. Unfortunately, the centre is currently closed for a major redevelopment work because it is a national monument. As you can tell, the Istana is more than 100 years old, so it's time for a refurbishment. So the centre has been closed from last year, actually, slated to open sometime in later part of next year, 2025. It's part of our effort to ensure that we continue to maintain the Singapore's national monument and to safeguard our heritage. But if you happen to be in Singapore, you know, you can still visit some of our other museums. They are still open. It's just that the Malay Heritage Centre is currently closed. But even though we are closed, we still continue with some of our programs and some of our outreach activities. So the Malay Heritage Centre, when it used to open, we do run quite a number of special exhibitions beyond the 2 floors of galleries that talks about the history and culture of the Malay community in Singapore, as well as the precinct. So if you're familiar in Singapore, you've been to Singapore, you would know that the Malay Heritage Centre is actually located in the Kampong Gelam. It's actually a historic precinct. It used to be a bit like, you know, like Kuala Kangsar, you know, tempat diraja, right? So that was also a little bit about the Kampong Gelam. That's where the Sultan used to stay, you know, in the Istana Kampong Gelam. There is a Sultan Mosque there. So that area is actually being preserved, culture and heritage. So the museum has 2 floors of galleries, and then on top of the permanent galleries, we also actually organize special exhibitions. These are yearly exhibitions, so some of the topics that we talk about, which is actually to ensure that, you know, the non-Malays also learn a bit more about our culture and heritage. So over the years, we have got a program called the Se-Nusantara series, where we actually, you know, share a little bit more about the ethnic groups in the Malay community. So who are the Malays, right? Beyond just Malay, we also have the Javanese, we've got the Boyanese, we've got the Bugis, we've got the Minangkabau. So we do this through our various exhibitions, yearly exhibitions, and through our programs as well. We've got a program which we call Malay Culture Fest. It's an annual culture festival where we don't just promote, you know, the culture and heritage of the Malay community in Singapore, but we also work with our partners in the region, Malaysia and Indonesia. I will show you the video later about how we have actually brought these performing arts groups in Singapore to show the diverse culture of the Malay community to the non-Malays in Singapore as well as to the region. Yeah. So these are the travelling exhibitions that I mentioned we do on a yearly basis. So some of the other topics beyond the Se-Nusantara series will be on Kampong Gelam itself. We've also done a special exhibition on the Hajj. So the Kampong Gelam actually used to be a port town, a trading port. In the past, some people actually would travel to Kampong Gelam, right, to take the ship to go to Mecca. So we have a special exhibition on that as well previously. In terms of programs, so I mentioned that these are some of the programs that we do. If you notice, we actually also bring together the different ethnic groups and the different performing arts group to the various programs that we have. Outreach and education programs, similar to what Dato has shared in Singapore, we also have got what we call the Museum-based learning program, where we work very closely with the Ministry of Education to ensure that students actually must attend, you know, the museum, must make a visit to the museum during their primary school or their secondary school years. So going back to the moderator's question about then how then the museums in Singapore celebrate culture, the diverse culture and heritage of Singapore. In Singapore, actually on the 21st of July every year is what we call or what we dedicate as the Racial Harmony Day. So that is a day where we really celebrate and we really promote the ethnic, diverse cultures of the various Singaporeans and how we come together as a nation. It has started for many years already, and it used to just be only celebrated in schools. What happens on that day is that, the children, the students will come to school in their ethnic wear. So you can wear any ethnic wear. On that day in school, you don't have to wear uniform. You can come in your baju kurung, your kebaya, your cheongsam, your sari. It doesn't have to be of your own, ethnic costume. Like as a Malay, you can also come in a sari, for example, or a cheongsam. So this has been going on in the schools in Singapore for many years. But we want to go beyond that. What does it mean? You don't just wear another person's costume to school, right? You need to understand, what is the significance of the costume? Why do the Malays wear baju kurung, for example? What is the origin of the kebaya, the sari, the cheongsam? So that's where the museums come in. So that's where the heritage institutions, we come together, the Malay heritage, the Indian heritage, and the Chinese Culture Center. We come together to organize programs. This was very recent. So the Racial Harmony Day was actually on the 21st of July. So this is a recent program that we just organized in July, and we decided to come together and we bring it out of the museums, because sometimes people say museums are scary, right? Or some people say museums are a bit elite, right? A bit atas, right? They don't want to come to museum. So we bring this program out. So we bring it out to our heartland, to our Tampines hub. If you're familiar with Singapore, Tampines is located in the eastern part of Singapore. It is a very big hub. They call it a Tampines hub because it has a library, it has spaces for exhibition, it has spaces for performances. So what we did was over that weekend in July, we brought the program out. All of us, came out, and then we brought our exhibitions, we brought our performances, the different performances, if you can see from the picture on top, and then we brought cooking demonstrations. We have traditional games. So basically everybody can participate. You don't have to come to a museum. We bring the museums to you. I think the pictures don't do justice. So maybe if I can show a 2-minute video about how this was celebrated in Singapore. If you can play the video, please. Thank you.
So this is the special thing that we have in Singapore. Really, it is something that from all over the world, when we bring them here and show them how we live, they say, wow, how did you do this?
I think it's quite important to have this kind of events because racial harmony is literally what Singapore is made of, our building blocks, it's who we are. So it's important that we not just tolerate each other, but we also understand the small nuances that we have between our different culture, different races and religion.
有史以来大家做做笑笑说说
We try to accept people who dress differently. Culture is also different, but we try to embrace them as well. Because that's what racial harmony means.
Let's embrace for me is something like knowing, understanding, and coping with everyone around you.
Different culture, you can learn different way of traditionally what they do, and also can understand what is their motive within their culture.
Live these values on so that Singapore continues to be a place where we continue to be a model city, not just in terms of the infrastructure we build like this, but the way we live together.
Yeah, so this was actually the very first time that we brought everything out. So if you can see, we have a lot of partners. So I guess alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. So that's quite apt as well for this conference team about coming together. Because museums alone, I don't think we can, we have a part to play in terms of celebrating the diverse heritage and culture of the various community, but we need to work with partners. So if you can see from the video, we even had Taufik Batisa, the popular idol, right? So he was even there to help us promote. So I guess these are some of the small ways that we can attract the young ones to be interested in their heritage and culture. Because, if they say museums are boring, you can see from the video that it's not, right? The fact that we are bringing things out to you. Of course, we cannot bring our artifacts out, right? Because the spaces do not have the climate control and all that. But there are ways, right? So we can bring some of the other objects. We can bring the games. We can bring a cooking demonstration. And through these activities, you realize that there's actually a lot more in common. So for example, during the cooking demonstration, we realized that some of the recipes, for example, are using similar ingredients. So there's actually a lot more similarities between us as a different races rather than differences. And museums definitely have a role to play in that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Madam Asma. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with the first round. The audience has received we have received a lot of useful input regarding what has been implemented, what is being implemented, and what will be implemented by the industry players, especially the museum, to celebrate the diversity among the people. Now, back to basic. After we listen the structure program from the Malaysian Museum and the Singaporean Museum, we back to basic, back to our first speaker, Datuk Lat, which is using his humor, his cartoon, his comic as a medium to get along together among the people. So, Datuk Lat, my second question for you. For ordinary people like me, we see art in the form of painting is a form of social criticism, your art, social criticism. This is the same as the late Tan Sri P. Ramlee, who is also recognized as a social critic, has used acting and film as a social criticism. So for Datuk Lat, is that intentional, which Datuk has consciously started when you first painted? And can we know further, since when Datuk realized the need of social criticism and why? Please, the floor is yours, Datuk.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Datuk, may I have your control?
Yeah.
So I can help you to control the slide.
Yeah,
okay.
Hopefully we can see some drawings. So I started when I was very young, school days, and my work were published even when I was in primary school by Sinaran Brothers and Pulau Pinang and Berita Harian and so on. So for someone who draws pictures, who draws funny pictures, the idea is to get in touch with the reader, and of course, as a kid, he is trying to impress the reader. He wants to make it special. He's new, but he knows that if he draws something good, then the reader would like it. I'll just tell you one simple example, because the encouragement that I got was from my father when I was even preschool. You know, he was also someone who liked to draw. He was a clerk in the army. You see, when he saw me drawing all the time, he gave me papers, and he also helped to correct my drawings, and my mother also encouraged and gave me drawing papers. And when relatives visited our house, no matter where we were living, before they left, my father would say, hey, hold it, draw something for you. And they brought papers, and I had to draw something for my relatives. It was very embarrassing because my father was very proud of my drawing. Actually, they were just simple drawings that, you know, people laugh because they look odd. And because he would ask me to draw after a trip we made together, wherever we went, try to remember what you saw. Like a trip to the circus would definitely end up with me having to draw animals, you know, when I reached home at the age of 6, 7, 8, you know. So the drawings that you make is seen by other people. And then they have a reaction. They appreciate it, they understand it, they are curious, or they don't understand it. Or they know that there is something trying to be delivered, but what is it? So in most cases, it was all comedy, because I was influenced by the films of P. Ramlee. I was influenced by the comics of the Utusan Melayu comic artists like the late Raja Hamzah, and of course many other big names like Rajab Hat and Syukurlin in those days. So when you draw, people laugh, it's something special. And we end up with that. One of the first cartoons I saw that made me laugh was in Berita Harian. I don't know what year, but it could be 1959, 60, you know. I will have to tell it to you because I don't have the illustration. But I would like you to picture in your head. It's in a Kampong, and it's a one-panel drawing. And there's this guy, he's taking a bath. He's taking a shower. He was wearing his kain basah, no shirt. And he was taking a bath at the well, Telaga, at the well. And it was raining, okay? It was raining. It's all in one panel, one picture. And he was pouring water on his head in the rain, but he was also holding an umbrella. So you can picture that in your head. If you got sense of humor, yeah, you can catch it immediately. I'm sorry, I cannot draw it, but try to picture that. So that's the humor that we are, you know, accustomed to when we want to communicate with other people. I don't know who drew that cartoon because I've forgotten the signature, but it appeared in the middle of Berita Harian, you know. I was very young, I was laughing. And another cartoon I saw was in a movie magazine called Movie News. They let the last 2 pages of the magazine for contributors, mostly kids and young people who sent drawings to the office of the publisher in Singapore. This one also, I hope you can picture in your head. There's a guy walking by a little river, a stream, and by the river there's a guy, another guy, the man who's fishing, and he's holding a fishing rod, and he's caught something. This is also one panel, just one panel, but with a dialogue. So the guy who was fishing, he's caught something, and the passerby walked behind and commented something, which was the dialogue which came out underneath the cartoon. You know, I was still in Kampong school at that time. I didn't understand English. It was in English. The magazine was called Movie News, and it was sent by somebody, a local from either Singapore or Semenanjung. But you know, in those days, if you send that sort of cartoon, you get free cinema ticket given by Shaw Brothers as a payment. So the guy pulling the fishing rod actually caught some leaves, leaves. And you can tell that those are leaves. And then dialogue, the passerby saying something, and he says, "Aha, I see, you are a vegetarian." That means he wasn't looking for fish. He was looking for vegetables in the river, you know. So that's, I was laughing. But I must tell you, I didn't know what a vegetarian was. Because I was still in the Kampong school and English was very limited for me. But I knew what vegetable is. You know, I knew what vegetable stands for. So it has something to do with vegetables, you know. Then I can safely say, oh, maybe this guy is saying that this guy fishing has caught something, vegetable which he studies, you know, instead of eating it. So that is the kind of humor that most of us are stuck with. And, you know, to put it under social criticism, it's all up to us. I mean, we are out with our pen, with our brush, with our pencil and ink, and we draw on our piece of paper, or we draw on our iPad, and we have something to deliver to the public. So if it's social criticism, yes, you are entitled to it. You have been appointed by the public, by the people, to draw for you, for them. And you have to draw almost daily. In my case, I would say I would draw social commentary and in good faith, and I would draw something that is a harmless story that is funny to you and me. You know, I'm not trying to point finger, pointing at some wrongdoings or pointing at mistakes. No, because who am I? I'm just an illustrator. I draw cartoons, you know. I don't really have that knowledge. As a matter of fact, I'm all the time learning. But I am a working man, and I would draw to communicate with people. We don't compare with P. Ramlee with anybody. You know, when he made a movie, you know, we all enjoyed it very much, and we knew that you know, his touch was magic. You know, the funniest scene I ever seen in my life, I was laughing hysterically, was when Ali Baba went to spend the night when the leader of the robbers went to spend the night at Ali Baba's house. Outside there were all the drums supposed to be containing oil, and he was singing, and later all the penyamun also joined in the dancing and singing. That was the funniest part. I think that happened in the Peninsula, Malaysia in 1961, I think, because everybody was laughing. So P. Ramlee had his way of doing things. And yes, he would like to insert, he would insert all these little messages, meaningful to us through humor in his movies, through his songs, and through his drama, you know. And it so happened that it was 1950s, 1955, 6, 7, 8, the Merdeka years. You know, we were all very high spirit.
Excuse me, Dato', could you please, we have a very limited time.
Yeah, okay. So during that period, it was a climax of his work, and I can safely say that it is with Merdeka that he, the feeling of Merdeka, that he managed to unite. At that time we were called Malayans. P. Ramlee did it at that time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dato'. Thank you very much, Dato'. Okay, without delay, I ask for the second speaker for the second round. Second question to him, Dato' KAMARUL, under the Unity Government, the Department of Museum Malaysia has been placed under the portfolio Ministry of National Unity, Kementerian Perpaduan Negara. What we see is that this is one of the strategies of the government today to strengthen our national unity agenda. Perhaps you can share what are the steps and initiatives of the museum in further empowering government policies, especially under the Ministry of National Unity. The floor is yours, but the time is limited.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Amir. Actually, when we was placed under the Ministry of Unity, I think it is normal for us as a museum, because previously we are under Ministry of Tourism. Before that, we are under Ministry of Information. Before that, we are Ministry of Culture. So we are keep changing every time our government change. So now we are under Ministry of Unity. So we have rules how to empower the initiative taken by the government. So,
okay.
So based on that, I think I can't see the slide. Okay. Okay. So when we was placed under Ministry of Unity, we take the challenge. We take the challenge, and we take the initiative by create a program, which I think towards the idea that intended by the government. So, but before we create our program, I think we have to refer to the National Unity Policy, where the tagline is Unity and Diversity. So, this National Unity Policy was produced by the Ministry of Unity to make sure that our unity among Malaysia can sustain and continuously, because as we know that we are from diverse religion and ethnic, and it's quite sensitive. So continuously effort was developed by our ministry to determine the directions of national unity in fostering, strengthening, and also preserving unity among Malaysia. So what we should do as a museum, because previously we are under Ministry of Tourism, we still play our main task. Is one of our main objective is to attract visitors to come to the museum. But once we under Ministry of Unity, So we draft a very special and a very specific program to raise unity agenda that we call the program Citra Nusa. So we have a lot of Citra Nusa program, and we get a special budget from Ministry of Finance. And this program is to drive the national harmony through several targeted groups. So this is based on 3 elements that has been determined by our ministry. One is patriotism and democracy. Secondly, national identity. And the third one is unity ecosystem. So this is one of our program, Citra Nusa. This is in conjunction with 60th anniversary of Muzium Negara, where we make a collaboration with a special education center with the Ministry of Education. So we involve in this program, as you can see in the slide, we involve approximately around 800 total of 800 students with a special need. So this is include secondary and primary. This is part of museum social responsibility. So museum not only involved in exhibition or conservation, what we also try to be part of the community by doing this type of program. So in this program, as you can see in the slide, we involve AQU students to making handicraft from recycled material, and we managed to get a Malaysian Book of Record by doing this program. So during under Citra Nusa program, we design various programs and activities such as normal museum. We must have an exhibition. So we have concert, mini concert, culture performance. We offer lucky draws. Our lucky draws is quite interesting. Even a motorcycle, TV, refrigerator, and many interesting, just to create a harmonious Malaysian. This is Citra Nusa in conjunction with Muzium Negara, and we get a very good response from the public. As you can see, during this event, visitors queue. I think we receive more than 10,000 visitors a day during this our event. So I would like to show you, this is another program, Citra Nusa, launched by your Perak Menteri Besar, Datuk Syarani, at Muzium Matang. Muzium Matang is a old fort related with Datuk Ibrahim, one of the oldest museum in Malaysia. So when we have this program, I think we attract at least a day 10,000 visitors. So we have a special program, education program with children. We have English program, and this is part of our initiative and step taken by our department to promote unity among Malaysia. So this is also Citra Nusa in Matang, Perak, and this is another Citra Nusa, and this is Museum Kota Kayang. I try to expose some of us never visit museum. So Kota Kayang is one of Royal Administrative Center once upon a time in Perlis, north of Malaysia. So we use a concept of semarak, or what we call it, vibrant program. So we target participation from various culture and racial background, where the response from the public are quite interesting. So some of the event we have is like performance by the popular artists, culture performance, folk sport. You see, call it apa, in sawah padi in Bendang, in paddy field.
Paddy field, yeah.
And also cooking handicraft program and also various other program. So this is what we call colors of multiracial concept that we use by the museum. And we have more than, we still have about more than 7 or 8 Citra Nusa program. Next week we have a Citra Nusa program with Indonesia. We have create a special program in Muzium Jakarta. We call it program Kita Serumpun. We are same, something like that, and will be launched by our minister. So what I can conclude, this is the attitude that museum professional desire. By include general public in each program that created by museum, and this is a very effective way to define the functions of museum in fostering social unity and inclusivity. So this is how museum celebrating diversity of heritage and culture. So this is the step, that initiative that taken to further empowering government policies when we are under Ministry of Unity. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dato'. Okay. Without delay, last question. And I think there is no Q&A session from the floor. The last question for the last speaker. According to Puan Asmah, the controller. Okay, according to Puan Asmah, how can we create harmonious relationship between countries through the existence of museum? This is the last question, especially between Malaysia and Singapore. Again, by promoting the ideas on how we celebrate the diversity in world cultural heritage. The floor is yours, but with limited time.
Thank you once again, Chairman. And I must thank you really, and Lembaga Museum Negeri Perak for inviting me to be part of this panel. This is also one way of strengthening the Singapore, Malaysia museum relations, right? I have just a few pictures. I mean, if the pictures can tell you a story, these are all, the visits that the Singapore Museum, particularly the Malay Heritage Centre, have done, over the years. And I must thank Datuk KAMARUL and the team at Jabatan Museum Malaysia for always, being welcoming, whenever we are, visiting the Malaysian states. The museums in Singapore really have been trying to strengthen the relationship with the museums in the region through various collaborations. So we have been part of the Hari Museum Antarabangsa that's actually been organized by Jabatan Museum Malaysia. So if you can see, the top one was actually, the one at the bottom was actually us and myself in Sarawak. So we were invited last year. That was the first time really that the museum in Singapore was invited. So last year we came as a participant, just an observer. And then if you look at the top, right, that was us in Penang just 2 months ago in May. So last year we came to observe. This year we decided to come and show our works. We actually brought out the history and the heritage of Kampong Gelam through this exhibition that we call Dicetak Oleh. So Kampong Gelam, I shared with you earlier, right, beyond being a port town, beyond being like a sort of a royal kind of enclave or precinct in Singapore, it was also actually a printing hub. So what we did was in Penang, we brought out this exhibition that shows the different publications and manuscripts in Jawi that not many people know that this was actually printed in Kampong Gelam. So when we brought that to Penang, we really had a lot of questions, and we really had a lot of feedback from the audience, not just from Penang itself, but also from other parts of Malaysia. And that's how we actually sort of strengthen and, really raise awareness of what we do in Singapore, the various culture, tradition, practices that we do in Singapore. you know, Joseph Nye, back in the 1990s, the political scientist, he spoke about soft power, right? So, and culture is really one of the values in soft power. And we at museums are well placed, especially the museums of today. Like I said earlier, museums of today are no longer about being dusty, boring places. We are really a space and a platform for dialogues, for culture dialogues, for us to actually have dialogues, not just with the community, but also inter-museums as well. And it's really for us to further the bilateral relations between Singapore, Malaysia, as well as in the region. Datuk mentioned about Citra Nusa. Datuk, I took part in Citra Nusa as well at Muzium Negara. That was me running, you know, at the bottom. If you can see, me and my colleagues in Singapore, we have been supportive of the museum's initiative really in Malaysia. So we were part of the Muzium Negara's anniversary celebration last year. We were there to support our Malaysian colleagues, and we even took part in the Larian Muzium Negara. Not in a good time, of course, but still, you know, we had a lot of fun, you know, really strengthening our relationship. If I can also share, across museums, not just Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, we have also come together as part of our World Museum International Relations. So I'm part of the International Council of Museum. I'm a board member with ICOM itself. And we have actually been having dialogues with museum practitioners from around the world during our ICOM conferences. Last year, Singapore was the host actually for the ICOM Community for Culture and Education, the pictures at the top. We actually invited museum practitioners from around the world to actually be part of the conference, to share their works, you know, through presentations, as well as what have they done well, to share their best practices. And that was us actually, the Singapore and Malaysia team. We were also in Prague back in 2022 actually to participate in the conference. If I can just show one last video.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I will share a bit more about the video. Yeah, it's just a very short video,
sorry.
40 seconds, yeah.
Okay.
If you see this video, this is actually a program we call Lintas Nusantara. You probably see Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia performing artists in the video. So that's something that we've been doing at the museum. So we really have a part to play in bringing together the different museums, culture, and relations from the region as well as international. There's a lot more that can be done, and I think we will still continue to do so in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just a little bit conclusion. So we are realizing that the only future we can have in common is a future where all communities are indispensable and interdependent of each other, and are therefore in need of each other culturally, economically, politically, technologically, and religiously. That's all from us. Thank you again to Datuk Lad, Datuk KAMARUL BAHARIN, and Puan ASMAH. Okay, back to MC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What an exciting session. There is so much to share. We just more time. Minta ampun dan maaf. Waktu telah pun habis. Okay, Mr. Muhammad Amir, Muhammad DAHALAN. Big hand to the moderator. Thank you, sir. These are all experts. They say the museum is haunted. I don't think so. Unless you see a ghost yourself, then you say, yes, I saw it, but I don't think it is. Thank you very much, Datuk Muhammad Nur KHALID. This, ladies and gentlemen, was awarded the Seniman di Raja by Duli Yang Maha Mulia Paduka Sri Sultan Perak. Ladies and gentlemen, big hand. This is the Raja artist here. Don't forget to take photo with him, get him to sign, because we grew up looking at all the Lat cartoons that brought so much laughter. He sees no color, no creed, no pattern, no style, but he drew from his heart. So truly thank you. Thank you very much, Madam ASMAH ALIAS, all the way from Singapore, bringing to bilateral ties in terms of museum connection, how they're able to look back into the history of how we came together as great humans. Thank you, Datuk Muhammad Nur KHALID.